It's good to see you here this morning, and I have the great privilege of introducing one of my dear friends. Robert Guiller was born in Northern Ireland, and you want to make sure you get that right. It's not Ireland, it's Northern Ireland, and there's a big difference. Robert served in the military in Great Britain and in the Navy, and while he was in the Navy, became a chaplain, and then was called into the ministry, and well, he was called in the ministry before he was a chaplain. That would have been awkward. But actually, there was nobody else. He said there was no one else. So his skipper on the boat said, will you take care of all the church stuff? And so he did, and God called him into the ministry. He came to the United States, and he's just been on the West Coast. He's been in Fresno and Lincoln, and now he pastors in Ogden, Utah. And he's been in Ogden, Utah for 9 years, pastoring there. And speaks all over the country and the world, and just got back from Ireland just a few days ago, and so it was perfect for him to just getting back, and now he's going to be here speaking for us. And so Robert's got a video he wants you to enjoy, and so just sit back, enjoy the video, and then Robert's going to come up and speak. And when he comes up, I know you're going to give him a big welcome, right? All right.
Can't get on the phone right now, but maybe I just don't want to. Just kidding, leave a message.
Taylor, hey, it's me, Trevor. I'm outside the concert, wondering where you're at. I think I'm in the right spot, and I think it's already started, and Hello? Hello?
Can't get on the phone right now, but maybe I just don't want to. Just kidding, leave a message.
Hey, your voicemail cut me off. So what I was saying was I'm outside.
Can't get on the phone right now, but maybe I just don't want to. Just kidding, leave a message.
Okay, I'll talk faster for whatever reason.
Can't get on the phone right now, but maybe I just don't want to. Just kidding, leave a message.
Funniest thing, it keeps cutting me off. Ah!
Can't get on the phone right now. Can't get on the phone right now. Can't get on the phone right now, but maybe I just don't want to.
You're killing me! You're killing me!
But maybe I just don't want to.
Hey, I'll talk really, really fast because for whatever reason, your little voicemail message thingy keeps cutting me off. Maybe it's because you have a cheap phone. Yeah, I said it. Hey, look, I see the writing on the wall. I am here, you invited me, and I'm standing out here like some dork waiting for you, huh? I got stood up by a buddy. What is that about? This is so you. This is so high school all over again. You get some more important friends, and me, I'm left like some chump. You have bad breath. Has anyone in your life ever told you that? It stinks, and you will not have me, Mr. Trevor, to kick around anymore. Do you hear me? No more, bro!
Mailbox is full.
Full of that.
Hey, I'm sorry I'm late. I tried to call you, but my phone's jacked up. Anyway, the reason I'm late is I ran into this guy who was selling us tickets. You're gonna love this, okay? Get this, box seats, all you can eat food, the best seats in the house. And the best part, my treat. I mean, think about it. You're my best buddy, right? I mean, what better way to say thank you than these? Hang on, I was expecting a call. Just a minute. Oh, it's a message from you. And another one. And another one.
Don't answer this question. Don't put your hand up. But ever happened to you? Which one were you? First of all, it's an incredible privilege to be with you this morning. Pastor Mark, I honestly, I don't have words to say thank you to you and Joni so much for allowing me to be with you and be a part of your family. So it's a real privilege to be here. So thank you so much. My name's Robert Guiller. I'm the cutest Irishman in the world, so my wife says. I'm the sexiest. So, you know, she's a Filipino, so she has good choice. I mean, look at me, right? But why do you think our words that we choose to use are so important? In fact, one of you did it to me this morning, and it still touched my heart. Chris, I want to say thank you so much. I came this morning with Pastor Joni. She brought me in, and we're just walking around, just catching my breath and just kind of praying for you and stuff. And I met that young man at the door. And he just loved me, included me, spoke life to me. And it set my whole morning in the right direction. Not having a clue, Chris was just being Chris. You know, he just was. But Chris didn't know me from Adam. He just didn't. I could have been anybody. I have a cute accent and dimples. I know, but and Pastor Mark will interpret for me afterwards. But Chris spoke life to me simply because he could. And so maybe our words are so important because if we could hear ourselves and see the impact our words have on people, the ripples actually that our words create go further than we could ever imagine most of the time. You know, we might think a little bit more before we say anything. I think words impact people's lives, actually, circumstances and situations more than we could ever imagine. For example, these 7 words that actually helped, 7 words that helped change this nation in a little bit of way. I have a dream that all men, Martin Luther King, literally impacted and transformed and started to change a generation of people. Or these words that literally changed a nation's history. We shall fight them on the hills. We shall fight them on the beaches. We shall fight them in the streets. And we will never, ever, ever give up. Sir Winston Churchill. Anybody watch the Bible on video? The Irish Bible on video? It's called Braveheart. Okay? Anybody seen the movie Braveheart? Okay. My mom's a Celt. My mom's a MacLeod. She was born on the shores of Loch Ness. And so there's 2 scenes in the movie. The movie's about 83, 85% accurate. A lot of the history stuff that they use, the rest of it's romantic. But there's 2 parts in the movie that are historically profoundly sound. One is the word freedom. When William Wallace, who represents, Mel Gibson, who represents William Wallace, is literally being cut from the inside through. And all they want him to do is bow the knee, literally, kiss a crest and say, you were right, I was wrong. And in the moment of just stirring up his passion, William Wallace cries out freedom. And it starts to stimulate a nation. To fast forward to the end of the movie, and actually in the history books, there's a place called Bannockburn. My family was actually there. And so Robert the Bruce is sitting on the battlefield about to go to the English king and kiss his crest and just accept his token crown, as it were, basically controlled by... Any English people in the room, by the way? Yes? Okay. Pastor Mark, it's his responsibility. He brought me, so blame him. And so Robert the Bruce is there waiting to go across the field to just basically submit himself to English rule that is despicable. And in a moment of rush of blood to the head, he pulls a piece of cloth from under his armor, a piece of cloth that William Wallace's bride and love of his life had when she had her throat slit. He pulls it out, and he looks at it. And as he moves out onto the battlefield, profound words penetrate his heart. He turns around, he looks at Celtic men outnumbered 10-1 and starving. He said, you bled with Wallace. I bleed with me. That day on the fields at Bannockburn, those commoners took passion in the words of Wallace and Robert the Bruce and did something that literally transformed my history, my Celtic history. I don't have an English accent because we won that day, and we kicked your butt. Words change people's lives. Are these words that forever changed my life? For God so loved the world, they gave his one and only Son for Robert. Words impact our lives more than we will ever realize or imagine, because I think if we did realize the impact, we would probably use them more effectively, more righteously, more loving, more honorably, more godly, even more sparingly. Some of the most powerful words in the world that maybe someone needs to hear today are these words. I'm sorry. I was wrong. I love you. Please forgive me. Words that can literally transform a marriage in a heartbeat. Words that can transform a friendship in a heartbeat. Words that can reconnect us in a heartbeat. Simply by choosing to use some words that can literally close the gap. Words can mend a relationship. They can start the healing process in a marriage. Words that can help reconnect friends if used wisely and truthfully. Why? Because here's what Jesus, my dad, said in reference to words. Proverbs 18:21 says this, words kill, words give life. They're either poison or fruit. You choose. Or these words that have forever stirred my life from a young believer in Psalm 19. May the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be pleasing to you, O Lord, my rock and my Redeemer. Each of us has the right to use our words in whatever way you want to. Chris did this morning with me. He had a right to keep his words to himself. He had a right to go find somebody he knows in the church. But he found this dude, Irish cute stranger, and spoke life to him before anything ever started. So Mark, I'm sorry, I had church before you ever started practicing worship. I had church with Chris. Because Chris took some words and spoke them into my life and made me feel at home. Chris, thank you so much. We never know who's stepping through our doors. We never know who's stepping into our life. We never know who is going through or facing or making a choice or whatever. We never know the reality of what a person's dealing with in the moment when we step into their life. See, but I think all of us have a personal responsibility to be aware of how powerful, how impacting our words are. Let me share this story. Anybody like football? The American version, which is not really the real one. But anyway, that's bad words. Okay, but anyway. I mean, I told Pastor Mark that and he just looked at me with contempt. I was like, get behind me. I mean, I'm a soccer player. We play for 90 minutes, not 10 yards and have to catch a breath, right? I mean, come on, seriously. I mean, like that's what they do, right? It takes 9 hours to play a game because they have to rest every few seconds. If they took all the padding off, they'd be fine. Any football fans in the house? Yes, it's 1929. It's the Rose Bowl game, and the power of the spoken word, well, hasn't changed much. It's the University of Georgia against California. Roy Riegels, who those who studied the game will know, he played in that game and had an amazing hit that they've recorded in the football history book. It was almost halftime, and he hit this guy so hard, it forced a fumble, and everybody gasped, so they say. So Riegels picks up the ball, and a little bit disorientated in the hit, rather than running to score a touchdown for his team, what did he do? He ran the wrong way as fast as he could. Rather than running towards his end zone, he was running the other way. The coach is screaming, somebody stop him. The other team is shouting, go Regals, go Regals, go Regals. So Regals running as fast as he could towards the end zone, when finally after 65 negative yards, one of his own teammates grabs him and pulls him from behind at the 2-yard line. His horrible play ended up leading to a score for the opposition team. He went into halftime totally defeated. Sitting down in the corner of the locker room, crying his eyes out, humiliating himself, his coach, his team, his university. He's the laughing stock of the football world, because footballers, as I watch them on TV, are merciless. Right? Those who used to play talk as if they still are, right? Which is always the way. Spectators always know better than players, right? I mean, I watch them. I can last 5 minutes for the Super Bowl. I just kind of lose my cool. Because you got all of you guys sitting in your armchair, playing an armchair quarterback, and you're criticizing like Peyton Manning, and I go, when did you make $140 million? Oh, you didn't. Right? And so there's there. So he's in the, at the end of the half, the coach shocked everyone as he said these words. All of you who started the first half back on the field to start the second half. When Regals had started the first half and everyone else piled out onto the field except Regals, who sat in the corner crying, the coach walked up and said, "Regals, didn't you hear what I said? Everyone who started the first half, get out and start the second." "Yeah, I heard you, coach." Regals looked up with his helmet on, face buried, just numb from tears. He said, "Coach, I can never go back out there again. I'm the laughing stock of football. I'm embarrassed. I'm going to lose the game for us." The coach reached down and grabbed him by the face mask, pulled him up to his feet and looked him in the eye and said these words, "Regals, you're my player. You made a mistake. You're forgiven. Now get out there and win the game." Those who saw the game to this day will tell you Roy Regals played like a man possessed on a mission and helped lead his team to a substantial victory. Why did he do that? What was the change from one moment of defeat, moments later, to victory? Where did it come from? And it came from two things this morning, if I could share with you. The first thing was forgiveness. He was forgiven. We read it earlier in the Message version. Here it is again, is Proverbs 18. The tongue can bring death. Chris, thank you. Your tongue this morning brought life to me. We have a choice of what we do with it. The second thing it came from being given a second chance that started with some simple but profound words. You made a mistake. You're forgiven. Now get out there and win the game. Maybe Dad, Mark, Pastor Mark, maybe Dad would say to us, "You've made a mistake. You're forgiven. Now, for goodness sake, get back in the game. Now, get back in the game. Get back doing what I've called you to do. Get back where I've asked you to be." Words used by people of influence, you and me, Chris this morning in my life, are profoundly, profoundly impacting. Take a look at this. Thank you so much.
You could smoke for years and nothing will ever happen to you. What? Oh, you all think smoking kills? Let me tell you something. Do you know that the amount of people dying from diabetes are 3 times as many people dying from smoking? Yet if I pulled a Snicker bar, nobody would say anything. Do you know that the leading cause of lung cancer is not actually a cigarette? It's your DNA. I use these arguments, even though I just made them up, with a group of my friends. And the results, 5 of them believed what I said. 2 of them started smoking. Words, when said and articulated in the right way, can change someone's mind. You have the power to bring someone from the slums of life and make a successful person out of them, or destroy someone's happiness using only your words. Does that seem a bit too good to be true? A simple choice of word can make a difference between someone accepting or denying your message. Have you ever wondered why nobody cares about global warming, even though it's a very serious issue? It could kill all of us. Because when you go home and you flip on the TV and you see a scientist trying to talk about global warming, it goes something like this. Ladies and gentlemen, as you can see from the graphs here, the statistics for 2014, it shows the water level is rising. This table shows that the monodioxide level in the third ozone layer is in a very alarming position. The message never get across. But most importantly, if you are a person who's a role model, if you're a person who's been admired, anything you say could be believed. Anything you utter could be taken as truth. My friend Nasser, he loved his father, idealized his father. But his father was the kind of person who's not easy to impress. And year after year, Nasser tried, and his father was like, yeah. First year in college, Nasser got straight A's. And he thought to himself, this is it. This what will finally make my dad proud. He picked up the phone. He called his dad. Dad, I got straight A's. Are you proud? Please tell me you're proud, Father. Yeah, listen, son. I'll have to call you back. I'm busy. I'm busy was the single sentence that broke the camel's back. And he started drinking, doing drugs, hanging out with the wrong crowd. Nasser, why? If the one person in the world that I care about the most doesn't care, then why should I? And one evening I got the phone call. Nasser's in the emergency room. Drug overdose. I rushed to that hospital. I saw him on that bed. And I saw that machine go beep, beep, beep. And I saw doctors try to bring him back to life. Clear! Clear! It's clear that a single word could have saved this life. Words have power. Words are power. Words could be your power. You can change a life, inspire a nation, make this world a beautiful place. Your mouth can spit venom, or it can mend a broken soul. Ladies and gentlemen, let that be our goal.
You made a mistake. You're forgiven. Now get out there and win the game. Or get out there and get back in the game. See, words are, I think, the start ingredients that helps to set everything else in motion personally. Why is it so important to be aware of how we use our words? Well, read this with me. And maybe it might shed some light on why it's important, and it's found in James. If you claim to be religious in Jesus and have a relationship, but don't control your tongue, you're actually fooling yourself. And your religion, your faith, in one sense, can become worthless. What words or word do you need to be able to say to somebody today? Who's the person in your life that's waiting to hear something from you? To maybe set them free by simply saying, I forgive you, or please forgive me. Or to maybe let them breathe again because of the pressure they feel right now, because they missed it with you. And they're petrified or insecure or whatever it is that they're struggling with, and they need to hear a word or a statement from you that would literally set them free. Rue, where are you? The gentleman I met when I came in. I want to say thank you, sir, for allowing my knowledge of Billy, Mark, and Joni, that you allowed it to broaden so that you included me in your circle this morning. Thank you for sharing about your family. Thank you for sharing about your background. Thank you for allowing me to get to know more than just the black shirt and the cute-looking soccer player, because he's a good football player. He's a soccer player. So we're family. We're kin. When you get to heaven, you can have your section. We'll be in ours where real football's taking place. But anyway, Ruth, thank you so much, sir, for taking the time to involve me, allow my circle to broaden. It actually allows me to feel at home. So I want to say thank you so much for taking the time just to speak into my life and to spend some time with Ruth. You have no idea what it means for someone like me who loves this man and his wife so much. Truly humbled to be here. I want to honor and respect them immensely. In fact, I'm nervous about screwing it up. But if I leave, it's his responsibility, right? Words are so profoundly powerful. Maybe it's to affirm someone's decision. Maybe somebody needs your words today to affirm their decision, to support their step of faith as they step into a new role or a new direction that Dad is stirring them to go in. Maybe they need your blessing found in your words. But why do it? See, our words carry weight in an incredible way. It might just change someone else's life, and it might just change yours, actually. Let me leave you with the most profound, powerful, and life-changing words I have ever heard, and maybe you would ever heard. A continuation of the words that I read earlier on. It's found in John 3 in the Message version. This is how much God loved the world. He gave his Son, his one and only Son. And this is why. So that no one needed to be destroyed. By believing in him, anyone can have a whole and lasting life. God did not go to all the trouble of sending his Son merely to point out an accusing finger, telling the world how bad it was. He came to help put the world right again. Anyone who trusts in him is acquitted. Anyone who refused to trust in him has long since been under the death sentence without actually knowing it. And why? Because of the person's failure to believe in the one-of-a-kind Son of God when it reduced to him. What are Dad's words to you today, maybe? Hey, Rue, I'm for you, he says. Chris, I love you. Chris, Pastor Mark, you're a kick in the pants, son. Thank you so much for sacrificing so much to pursue me and chase after me. What's the words that Dad would say to you today? I see you. So often people want to be known and needed. And Dad would say to all of us, hey, son, hey, daughter, I see you. I know you feel you're in a crowd, but I see you. I'm for you. I will not fail you. Hey, son, kid, daughter, I got you. I got you. It's okay. I'm right here. I'll never leave you or forsake you. I'm kind of good at this. I put it all in motion, by the way, just in case you don't know. Hey, kid, daughter, Joan, I want to know you. Hey, kid, I so want you to be known by me. What are Dad's words to you today? Maybe this one. Hey, kid, you're forgiven. It's okay. I did it. I covered it all. A few Saturdays ago, I had some of the most profound words in my life, spoken in my life. We have a men's second cup of coffee, because coffee is obviously from heaven. So, in the Irish section, we'll have golf, Jesus, soccer, and coffee. And me. And Rue, obviously, because we'll invite Rue because he plays soccer. But a couple of Saturdays ago, I was in the men's Bible study dialogue, and it was Saturday morning, and my daughter got up early. And she's 20 years old. And she came downstairs, and I don't know about you, but when my kids or my wife walk in the room, I love you, but you're second. And she walked across the room, Pastor Mark, and I was in the Bible study, and I was sitting in a chair, and she just came up, and she sat in my lap, and she's 20 years old. And she sat in my lap, and she licked my face. It was like so cool. And she leant over, and she whispered in my ear, hey, Daddy, I love you so much. And then she got up and left. And I'm a basket case with all these men. And I realized then, words don't have to be loud to have an impact. They just have to be clear. What would you need to say today? Who would you need to speak to today? To speak words that are clear into their heart, into their spirit, to maybe set them free or encourage them to take a jump. Because our words are so, so profound. Pastor Mark, would you join me, please? I love this man. I love his wife. He is one of the coolest, most down-to-earth people I have ever met in my life. He loves Jesus passionately, and I submit myself to him because this is his house and I'm a part of his flock today. But I love his company. I love the words he speaks in my life. What words would you need to speak into someone's life today? I'm going to ask our pastor to come and close us today, pray over us, and speak life over us, that today might be different, that we might walk out these doors and experience something different and hear something different and be different and kind of understand and have clarification of what's different. So this morning I want to say some words to you. Thank you so much for the privilege of allowing me to be with you. Thank you so much for allowing me the honor to stand here with your pastor. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of your family. How much I love you and I appreciate you, and thank you so much for allowing me to be here today. Pastor Mark, would you close for us?
Robert, thank you so much. Thank you so much for speaking life to us, because words are life and they are death. And we choose, we choose. I know that, one of the things that I love about Robert is just how natural he is when he talks about God, and he calls him Dad. And I know that for some of us that, my father just passing, I have no problem seeing God as Dad. I mean, I have 2 dads in heaven. And I have no problem with that kind of terminology. But I know that that doesn't ring true with everyone. That some people have a dad that wasn't much of a dad. And it's painful for you to hear that. And I know Robert's not meaning that, but you have to understand that your Father in heaven is not like your Father on earth. And I want you to bow your heads, because I want to close in prayer with this. And one of the most vicious lies of the devil is for you to think that your Father in heaven is just like your Father on earth. That he's abusive, that he'll abandon you if you do wrong, that he's absent, he's apathetic toward you, doesn't really care. Like the video that we saw, I'm busy. That your Father in heaven is busy. He's busy about you all the time. Psalms 139, the thoughts that God have of you could not be counted. They outnumber the grains of the sand. His thoughts toward you. Father, I just pray healing. I speak healing over our hearts towards our Father in heaven. We forgive our dads for their mistakes. We forgive our fathers for their mishandling. In fact, we use our words to speak forgiveness over our earthly dads. And we receive you, Lord. Your fatherhood over us. In Jesus' name, amen.
Hi, I'm Pastor Chad, one of the staff pastors here at the Foothills Church. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe to our channel. Also, you can donate with this link down in the bottom or go to our website, thefoothillschurch.org.